Landlocked Blues, that one, yeah. When you walk away, I walk away. Just tell me which road you'll take. Just the way the song starts, like it just feels spare and alone, lyrically and emotively. Like it feels like a personal like journey, and having it be spare is like an important aesthetic, I think. I'm really happy and proud about just how that one turned out.
If you walk away, I'll walk away. First tell me which road you will take. I don't wanna risk our paths crossing someday. So you walk that way, I'll walk this way. And the future hangs over our heads, and it moves with each current event, until it falls all around like a cold, steady rain, just staying when it's looking this way.
Well, that one's probably the oldest of those songs on Wide Awake that made the record. There's actually like a real early version of it that's on a Saddle Creek compilation. It's like different. I don't think maybe to that point had I ever like released a song for a second time, but I did feel like it fit with the other songs that were going to be on the record.
I do kind of remember this. Connor's like, I don't know. We've already released that. We've never done that before. Put out a song and then re-record it and then put it on our album. And we already had so many songs because we were doing digital. We had 20 some songs to work with, and we just tried it. And the way that they played, just the three of them together, just automatically sounded engaging and interesting. I think that's also I think I just liked the song so much that I think when we decided to record it, again, that was with Jesse Harris and Tim Lunsell. It was in like the live recordings of just the trio of them. It felt special and new just right off the bat. Like having Emmy Lou sing on it really kind of set it apart from the other version of the song as well. That just made it special.
And the moon's laying low in the sky, forcing everything metal to shine. And the sidewalk holds diamonds like a jewelry store case. They argue, walk this way, no, walk this way. And Laura's asleep in my bed. As I'm leaving, she wakes up and says, I dreamed you were carried away on the crest of a wave. Baby, don't go away, come here.
The version of it on Wide Awake It's Morning, I think, is the best serving version of that song. But like, again, the elements of adding Emmy Lou, she's kind of mixed pretty prominently on that song, as she should be. And Nate's trumpet parts, and then kind of a big, I think Nikki played like the piano, like just when things come in, they have impact. When Emmy Lou's voice comes in, it's really emotive to me. And I think that it's hard to, picture that song any other way, honestly. Even though we played it three different ways, evidently we've recorded it three different ways and released all three. This is the version that feels the most true to the song.
Obviously, Emmy Lou sings all over that one, which I think, took it to a very different place than when it was just me singing. I mean, I remember being a little surprised just that she wanted to sing, like she was going to sing as much of it as she sang. Because I was kind of, I don't know, I was expecting it to just be like certain parts or something, but I wasn't about to say anything to Emmy Lou, She was like, dude, she's singing on a record. So, and now after it happened and, now it seems like it always should have been there, but I was a little bit pleasantly surprised that she was, going to sing as much as she did. It kind of really did turn it into like a duet kind of feel.
And there's kids playing guns in the street, and one's pointing his tree branch at me. And so I put my hands up, I say enough is enough. If you walk away, I'll walk away. And he shot me dead. I found a liquid cure from my landlocked blues. It will pass away like a slow parade. It's leaving, but I don't know how soon.
Omaha is very close to like the geographical center of the United States, so it takes a long time to get to the ocean, say that. So I'd been playing that song for a while. It seemed like for a while. Maybe I guess time was different then too. It's like what was like 2 years felt longer than 2 years now. Now 2 years just happened, you know? Probably this interview is probably 2 years. You know, we got to look at our calendars after this, but no, I think that song is still like, again, it's one that I play sometimes, and I guess there's a Dylan thing or Leonard Cohen, just, you know, songs that kind of push the envelope with like how many verses you really need, or, you know, this it's a lot of words. Um, I mean, I love Bob Dylan. I love all his records, even the ones I don't love, I still kind of love, you know. I mean, he's always been just part of my life, all of our lives, you know. And I think as any songwriter that cares about words, you know, it's kind of impossible not to be somehow influenced or, you know, informed by his music, because it's kind of omnipresent, and he's influenced so many people that it's just, he's part of the DNA of, you know, American music, popular music, whatever. And yeah, I mean, the whole comparison thing, you know, I never took that at all seriously, because no one should. And there's been a bunch of people before me and a bunch of people after me. And, you know, I think it's just music journalism shorthand for like guy with guitar that has a lot of words in their songs or something. You know what I mean? Like things that get compared to Dylan, I find not really that much like it at all. And then other times it is, but I'm a fan.
He always kind of not scoffed, but like when, yeah, I remember lots of folks brought that up in interviews, or you'd read it in kind of press things. And, you know, this is a time before social media and all that shit. So it was Rolling Stone or like bigger media outlets and so forth. And so he was like, well, I think there was a certain kind of flattery that you would get, because obviously, you know, like between like Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen or like these are like, in my opinion, the two best songwriters that lived, you know. And then for him to be kind of thrust into that like weird category of like, and he's like 22 years old, like it seemed like a lot, but he kind of shrugged it off, I think, you know, like he was like, huh, boy, or whatever. Like there was all kinds of weird little things that people would say, and I don't think that affected his songwriting. I think he was very prolific at that point in his life. That's why he wrote so many songs. We put out 2 records on the same day.
In a way, it was sort of the kind of beginning of that era of my life, I guess, like whatever the line is, you know, being 22 or whatever. It's like I was 22 when I wrote that line, you know. I try to change it like as the years went by, but some numbers don't flow as well. They don't sing as well, as they say.
And the world's got me dizzy again. You think after 22 years I'd be used to the spin, and it only feels worse when I stay in one place. So I'm always pacing around or walking away. And I keep drinking the ink from my pen, and I'm balancing history books up on my head. But it all boils down to one quotable phrase: if you love something, give it away.
I think there's the segment of my songs that if you're not interested in words or like the story of the song, there's not a lot there for you per se, you know? Like there's not a cool beat or, it's just a lot of words.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned that one on same with We Are Nowhere, where the verses just seem, right when you think there'll be a bridge or a pre-chorus or a change, it just kind of recycles a verse. I never thought that they were too long. All the lyrics are engaging and they kind of tell, especially in We Are Nowhere and It's Now, just again, is different stories and places to where there are a lot of words are kind of necessary. There's a lot to explore there. And same with Landlocked Blues, where it just, kind of felt almost stream of consciousness. They're like in the way it was sort of presented. I feel like little ornamental tweaks throughout that song just sort of help delineate some of the stanzas, just to make it feel like it kind of moves.
One thing I like about my songwriting style, I guess, which is, yeah, influenced by lots of different people, but I do like when songs are non-linear. I mean, I think a great old school like story song is amazing, but those are really hard to write and sometimes they can go kind of into like schmaltzy, not good territory in my opinion. But songs that, yeah, each stanza or each verse, you kind of have a chance to introduce a new idea. And yeah, that is like a very like, I would say Dylan or Cohen thing to do, you have a lot of ideas and there is, to me, they're all connected and they belong together. But as a listener, it might take a second to find that. It's like some verses can feel like a non sequitur or like the song's starting over. Here's a bunch of new things, but I like that, that's like, it's like, I think it's good for the mind, to think of not everything has to be like, ABC 1, 2, 3.
A good woman will pick you apart. A box full of suggestions for your possible heart. But you may be offended and you may be afraid. But don't walk away, don't walk away. We made love on the living room floor, with the noise in the background from a televised war. And in that deafening pleasure, I thought I heard someone say, if we walk away, they'll walk away.
Kids playing guns in the street and the versus making love on a living room floor, very different places, kids playing guns in the street and making love on the floor. And so I think we just naturally kind of felt compelled to have them musically present themselves slightly in a different way, in a different environment. Not a different environment because it's not that extreme, because that would be distracting, but like just kind of treat them as their own little thing. It all is cohesive. Obviously, Connor's playing acoustic guitar and singing, and that one was recorded live, with Jesse and Tim. Also having Emmylou come in was a mechanism to use as far as movement and change and color is concerned. And, whether it be the kind of, it's not a trumpety fanfare thing on Landlocked Blues, but just the tap solo and like Nate's parts on this just add a lot of impact.
And the whole world must watch the sad comic display. If you're still free, start running away, 'cause we're coming for you.
We sometimes insert musical references, or I don't know. They almost border on jokes, but they're not. They're not jokes. But yeah, obviously he's playing like taps, and there's the line before it or the verse before it is, the verse about the war on television, and yeah, that is the kind of most, I suppose, political verse in there. And it was just cool to, I can't remember whose idea that was, if it was Nate or mine or whatever, but we did it once and then we're like, that's perfect. We gotta record it that way.
It's just the impact of brass and what Nate, his parts and his kind of arrangements of the parts that he's playing are so thoughtful, and it really elevates the track when he comes in. And it weirdly, even when it's taps in Landlocked Blues, it still adds a little bit of joy to me. I don't know, even if it's a mournful bum 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 bum, just at a military funeral, but like it still elevates it with a little bit of joy. The trumpet in this album kind of pulls that off too. It's mournful but also joyous.